Hello, everyone. Farah Hanoun here, and I'm joined by Jake Matthews, who's coming off a fantastic first round finish over Shinsho Anzai at UFC Singapore. Jake, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Just been relaxing for the last week, and then just doing a bit of training this week. So just getting back into it slowly.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your win. Dominant first round finish. I'd say a perfect performance. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. It's probably the first time that everything that we worked in training camp came together. So it was nice to finally be able to implement everything we worked and show that I can not only brawl in a fight, but I can play it smart as well.
And you were talking about before the fight that you felt like he was going to come out real strong and fast, and he did. But did you expect the fight to go as fast as it did?
Yeah, we knew, like you said, we knew what he was gonna do. He was either gonna come out and throw his hands really wild and then try and shoot for a takedown, or he's just gonna try and shoot for a takedown. I expected him to try and be a little bit more technical with his takedowns and be a bit faster and set them up better, but he sort of just tried to run in. I think he obviously wanted to avoid the stand up, so it's a lot easier to avoid the takedowns. And I actually expected him to be a lot stronger than he was too. I noticed in a few of his other fights, he sort of manhandled some of his opponents and got them down to the ground and pinned them down. So I was a little bit worried. I didn't want to, have one of those fights where you just get pinned to the floor the whole fight. But as soon as we clinched up against the fence, I just felt a lot stronger than him. I think I'm actually quite strong at welterweight, even though I used to be a lightweight. So it's given me a bit of confidence now. And yeah, as soon as I felt that I was stronger, I was happy to clinch up with him and use my knees in the clinch.
Awesome, and you were super fired up after the fight. You were like shouting, "I'm number one." Did you feel like you finally arrived in regards of the welterweight division? Do you feel like, right, this is my time now?
Yeah, that was just more about you know, when you're winning fights, everyone loves you and everyone's hyping you up, and then as soon as you lose a couple, it's everyone comes out of the woodwork and starts telling you you're no good. That was more just getting that frustration out. Sometimes it's not always the fighter's ability. Sometimes there's other things going on that affects the fight. Any fighter can win a fight on any given day. But like for me, it used to be my weight cuts are really hard, and I'd have no energy. I think now people are starting to realise that they see me welterweight. It's just a completely different fighter. So it was more getting that frustration out, saying it's not necessarily just the fighter's ability, but what leads up to that to the fight. Whether the training camp went well, whether they got injuries, whether the weight cut was good or bad. So that's what that was about. But I think people are finally realising that I'm a bit of a threat now at welterweight.
And you were talking in your interview with Submission Radio about little bumps and bruises. You had a couple of injuries. How are you feeling right now? Have you been focusing on healing all your injuries and all that?
Yeah, a little bit more than a couple of bumps and bruises, but I just popped my ankle and was unable to. I couldn't walk for a week, so I was off training for a week, and then during sparring, I hurt my toe, and it's still no better. It's still the same as it was beforehand, so I think I get that looked at. But it was just more for me. I wasn't fussed. I'll work around things. I never pull out of a fight because of an injury if I can help it. But it was more annoying. I couldn't throw any kicks for the whole fight camp. Obviously, I've taken a week off, and then about 5 weeks before the fight, I got a chest infection, and really affected my cardio. Could only get half the amount of sparring out. I was coughing a lot, real congested. Even during fight week, I was still the same. And even now, it's still a little. I'm still a little bit congested now. So it's quite a severe chest infection. But I was confident the fight wasn't gonna be a long one. We knew what it was gonna do. We knew what we were gonna do. And we were confident we can get the early finish. So that's why we didn't consider pulling out of the fight or anything because of the illness.
So, like I said before, this could have been best case scenario, literally the way the fight panned out.
Yeah, everything was. If I could have scripted it, I would have scripted the exact same way.
Great, great. And a lot of people felt like you should have had a bit of a step up in competition after your win over Jing Liang. And I remember I spoke to you after your fight with Jing Liang, and you were talking about wanting to fight in Asia. Was that what it was all about? Did you tell the UFC I want to fight in Asia, and that's the opponent that they could put together? I mean, obviously a relevant opponent being that he's from Asia as well.
Yeah, you could argue that I could have had a higher ranked opponent, but I did tell the UFC that I was going to have a break after Perth and I was going to wait till the end of the year to fight. But I didn't realise that the next cards were going to be in December and November. I thought it'd be earlier. So I didn't want to have to wait, 7-8 months to fight, considering I just had 12 months off. So I sort of messaged them, and they just got back to me with a quick matchup, which was against Anzai. And it worked out good. It was in Singapore because I think myself and Jing Yang got a fair bit of attention after that last one in Perth. Yeah. So and I hear there's going to be one in China possibly in November. So if I could go and fight there, that'd be cool as well, I think.
And is the intrigue to fight in Asia because it's close to Australia, you don't have to do a lot of traveling, or are you actually intrigued? Like, did you get to see the country at all, do any sightseeing, or was it kind of like a business trip in and out?
We walked around as much as we could. We didn't stay afterwards, but you obviously don't want to tire yourself out before the fight. But we walked around. We went to the Marina Bay Sands, went to the gardens, things like that. So we always try and get out and about and see things. But that's the perks of fighting in the UFC. Is you get to experience different cities, different countries, and in terms of fighting in Asia, it's still international, so it brings a different sort of demographic, but it's not the time difference as much as America. Yeah. So I think it's a good stepping stone. Fighting Singapore, it's a 2-hour time difference. Next time maybe fighting China, a little bit longer flight. I think the time difference is a little bit more. And then, after that, maybe go fight in America and sort of build up to those long-haul flights.
And what was the experience like fighting in Asia? Because a lot of people say that, the fans are very respectful. They really understand the sport. You won't get a lot of booing, especially your fight went real quick, but in general, you won't get a lot of booing and grappling exchanges and all that. Like, they respect and understand the sport. But what was your whole experience like fighting in Asia and the fans?
Yeah, well, Singapore is like probably the cleanest city in the world. I think I've never been to a cleaner city before. So, the food's good there. It's not hard to find good food. Like I said, it's clean. Everyone speaks English, so it's easy there's no language barrier. So it actually made it really easy. It didn't even feel like I left Australia, to be honest. It's a little bit hotter than back here in Australia. It's only like 3 degrees at the moment. But yeah, it was a lot better. And even just, I've got friends over in Singapore, so my cousin lives there, so getting him out to train and help out was good fun. But yeah, it's definitely a good experience. In terms of the crowd, I know I've heard before that Asian crowds can be very quiet, but luckily there was about 1,000 Aussies there, so it was pretty loud.
Okay, that's great. And what would you say is next for you? Because I saw you when Mike Perry lost his opponent, you threw your name in the hat. Was it a matter of, because you're saying you're dealing with a lot of injuries, was it a matter just because it was a massive opportunity?
Yeah, like I wasn't expecting. I know there's probably a lot of other fighters that that are in line for that fight, and considering I just fought, I think my suspension's still in place. I probably couldn't have even had that fight, but I'm just letting people know I'm ready to take on those fights. And who knows, the UFC, you never know. If there's an opportunity, I just jump at it. Even though the chances are very slim, the UFC, you never know. They might have messaged me and said, "Okay, come over and fight," and I would have for sure.
Nice. And ideally, when would you like to get back in there? When you consider like the rest of the year, you've been pretty active this year, and obviously you're dealing with quite a bit of injuries and stuff. So ideally, when would you say timeline-wise you'd like to get back in there?
Yeah, like I was saying before, there's one I think there's one in November in China. I mean, that'd be pretty cool to go fight there, experience another country. Never been in China before, and then there's going to be one in the end of the year in Australia somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where. I think I heard December. So if not China, then in back in Australia. But it'd be cool to just go fight in China, and then afterwards come back and go and watch a UFC fight. So I've never actually been to a live UFC. I've never fought. I've never been to watch one before. So it'd be cool to go and I've watched one before in fight week, but it'd be cool to just go and relax, hang around the fighters, and just and experience it from a spectator's point of view for once.
And have you heard anything concrete in terms of UFC in Australia in December? I mean, is this like rumblings? Because scheduling wise, it hasn't been announced or really been discussed in details. But have you been hearing something about the UFC going to Australia in December? Because I'm pretty sure they will at some point at the end of the year.
Yeah, I've heard rumours and things like that. They're looking at Australia. I'm not sure whereabouts in Australia. It'd be good if it was Melbourne, but there's a lot of cities that are in line to wait for that. So. Yeah, I'm not sure where exactly. And same as China, I'm not sure what the date is for that. I think I heard maybe November somewhere, but we'll just wait and see. And if not either of those, then whatever the UFC asks me, that's what we'll go and do. We've always been like that. We've always been easygoing. If the UFC give me an opponent and a date, we say yes and we go fight.
And do you have any opponent in mind next? I know you're not the calling out type of guy, but when you look at the division, I mean, I'd say you could be looking at a ranked opponent next.
Yeah, possibly. I've never been one for the call outs. I've tried it before in the past, once or twice, but it just doesn't seem to work for me. I think I don't talk enough trash. I think being Aussie, I'm just too nice, and it doesn't come across aggressive enough. So it's never worked for me in the past. But the UFC have always given me great matchups. I've fought some real good opponents. I fought James Vick. I fought Kevin Lee, and some other big names as well, like Li Jingliang. He's on a 4-fight win streak. I think he had like 3 or 4 bonuses in a row. So I fought some big names, and the UFC, I don't think they ever throw me to the wolves. I think they pair me up with people that they believe is a good matchup. And it just depends if I show up on the day or not. And thankfully the last 3 fights I have. So I think we'll just leave it up to the UFC. So, I think they know the best strategy to sort of push me ahead. I'm not looking to jump up and fight top 10 guys straight away. I want to build myself up and just keep on a roll.
And I've noticed you posted something, like you do some analyst work, right? I mean, I see you talking about the fights a lot of times. You're a guy that really follows the sport, correct? I mean, you pay attention obviously to your division, but just overall, your interest in the sport and covering. Do you do a lot of analyst work? Because I've seen kind of little bits of things that you've done before.
Yeah, I'm always looking at people's stats and I just watch highlights nonstop, and I don't watch the events as much as I'd like to. But we work with a betting agency here, myself and Dan Kelly.
Yep.
And like you said, we do a panel job. So it's called the MMA Takedown, and we pretty much just the big cards that are coming up. Maybe once every three weeks or a month, we'll just we'll cover the main card, go over the fights. So it's a pretty cool gig, and actually it's good for myself because it gets me watching other fighters more, and sometimes you pick little things up, and you see how the stats actually can play into it. So it's pretty interesting, and I've been loving it so far.
Nice. And you made the move up to welterweight, of course, as you got older, physically bigger, as you grew. But was there a specific moment where, whether it was during a weight cut or after a fight or whatever, where you felt like I need to make this move up now, or was it just something that's been on your mind for a while and you decided to make up the move up?
Yeah, it wasn't hard because obviously when I got in the UFC I was 19, so I've obviously grown between then. So I've actually grown. I was 5'9" when I got in the UFC, 5'9". Now I'm just under 6 foot, so I've grown a fair bit. And each fight has just progressively got harder. It didn't all of a sudden just get hard. So it only got just a little bit harder each time. So I didn't notice it as much. And by the time I fought in my last fight in Melbourne against Andrew Holbrook, I was just in a bad state before just before weigh-in, and even 2 weeks after the fight, I had some kidney issues. I got a chest infection. I had a chest condition, which I had to go see the doctor about, and that was due to the weight cut. I had like low cerebral fluid. I think it was about like 15%. So yeah, it just became a health issue, and that was sort of a no-brainer. And also after the fight, Rob Whittaker walks up to me and pretty much, just grabs me and shakes me and said, "Come on, man, you got to move up to welterweight. You got to do it." And he did it. He was fighting welterweight, and it got hard for him. He moved up to middleweight, and even though he's a smaller middleweight, he's fresh when he fights, and he's 100%. And when he goes into his fights now, I think obviously look at him. He's smashed it. He's a champ at the moment. So hopefully I can follow in his footsteps and do the same thing.
And yeah, because he's the perfect example. And I remember him saying, like, right when he moved up in weight, how he feels like there's more water in his brain and that he could take shots. Even though the middleweights are much bigger, stronger guys than the welterweights, he felt like he could take shots a lot better. Do you feel the same way, like during your fights at welterweight as opposed to lightweights, when you're in there and you're striking and in the middle of exchanges? Do you feel a difference?
Yeah, well, it's funny. You think fighting welterweights, they'd be hitting harder and you have more chance of getting knocked out, but it's actually the opposite. When I was fighting lightweight, because of the weight cut, I lose a lot of cerebral fluid. Yeah. So the brain's not as protected. And you see fights, I'd get the slightest little tap or a little hook to the face, and I'd sort of stumble. It's a bit rough for me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's exactly right. So at lightweight, I'd get like just a little hit or a jab, and it would stun me a little bit. Whereas at welterweight, we've seen, I thought, Li Jingliang, he was hitting me with some big shots, and it didn't faze me at all. And yeah, I used to fight welterweight when I was like 17 years old, and I'd walk around, under I'll be about 160 pounds, and I used to drink a lot of water and try and seem a bit heavier just because I wanted to fight welterweight. And then I never lost a welterweight. It's still to this day, I'm still undefeated. So it took us a while, and I wish we had realised it earlier. But we've done it now, and I think it's the best move for sure.
And I'm sure you've been hearing about the whole debate of Dana wanting to go back to the 4 p.m. weigh-ins. Obviously you've seen a lot of people miss weight in the new format of the early weigh-ins. What are your thoughts on it and the UFC? I don't know how serious he is about them actually moving, because it seems like every single fighter doesn't like it. But what are your thoughts on it?
I think the early weigh-ins are a great idea. When Dana first brought it out, he had all this scientific evidence to support it, and now wants to retract that. So I think it's more. I don't think it's more about the early weigh-ins. I think it's more about these fighters miss weight and there's no repercussions. These fighters, they miss weight, and it's either they can continue to cut weight and potentially lose their fight because they're not feeling well, or they can lose 20% of their purse. I can guarantee every single fighter will tell you they'll sacrifice 20% of their purse to win a fight. Yeah. So I think these fighters are just playing it smart and just saving their energy, losing that 20%, and then go and win the fight. And at least they're still going to move up in ranking. They're still going to get a little bit of money, but I think that's more what it is. So I think the penalties for missing weight have to be a bit harsher. Whether the fight just gets pulled automatically, or whether it's maybe a bigger amount of their purse gets taken, like 50% as opposed to 20 or 30%. So I think the repercussions need to be a bit harsher. I think the early weigh-ins are great. I mean, by the time we fight now, we're 100%. I mean, 24 hours, especially when you're weighing at night time, you got a late weigh-in, a ceremonial weigh-in, and also you have to be. So when you cut weight, you have to get on the bus, you have to travel to the venue. So you got to be on weight for about 3.5 hours. Whereas when you're in the hotel, you cut weight, you go downstairs, you weigh in, and within half an hour you're rehydrating and you're eating again. So it's definitely much safer. And also when you have the late weigh-ins, you have to, you don't have much time to rehydrate that night because you obviously want to get an early night's sleep, and then you got to try and do it the next day, and you're going to be sleeping dehydrated. So I think the early weigh-ins is the best thing that's happened in terms of the weight cut. And I think just the penalty needs to be harsher.
Absolutely, because it's crazy how statistically I think it's like 8-1 with fighters that have missed weight and went on to win. And I mean, Dana's been saying that he's spoken to a lot of fighters that said they want to go back to the 4 p.m. weigh-ins, which I don't know. I feel like he's trying to support his cause, but I mean, he's got to take into consideration what the fighters want, right? Isn't that the whole point? I mean, it's what you guys go through, not everybody on the outside.
Yeah, for sure. We're the ones that are putting ourselves through it, and I think you'll see if it does go back to the late weigh-ins, I think you're going to see some fighters moving up a weight class. And they might necessarily be in between weights. They might not be big enough for the next weight class, and I think it's a lot fairer to have an early weigh-in. I think it works better for everyone. I'd like to speak to these fighters that think the late weigh-ins are better. Maybe the guys that walk around on weight, maybe they prefer that because they don't have to cut as much weight. But it's not like boxing. Boxing, there's like 2 kilograms between each weight class. MMA, there's 7 kilograms. So some people are right in the middle, and it's very hard to they might be too small for one, but then they're too big for another. So either add some more weight classes in, have some more catch weight fights. I don't know what you can do, but I think I think the early weigh-ins have been working so far.
And 165 gets discussed a lot as a potential addition. Would that interest you? Is that something you'd go to right away, or are you satisfied at 170?
Yeah, before I heard about that 165 division just before I moved it to welterweight, and I think that I could make that weight quite easily. I mean, to make welterweight is very easy for me. Obviously, still just the water cut's hard, but it's all about how you diet beforehand. So I just diet down more, and I'm not sure exactly what it is in kilograms, but we worked it out, and I think 165 would be cool. And you know, I don't think there'd be as many people in that division, so to get in there early and try and you know, make your mark in that division would be cool. But I haven't heard much talk about it of late, so we'll have to see.
Absolutely. And Jake, one last thing, I really appreciate the time. You posted something, I think, the other day. It was kind of like a list of your accolades. I mean, it's crazy that you're only 23. When you look at kind of your career so far and moving forward, do you have goals? Do you take it fight by fight, or are you the kind of guy that maps things out? I mean, how do you approach things? I mean, 'cause it's crazy. I mean, you're only 23. You don't have to kind of rush things, but you're in a spot where you moved up a weight class. You're finding a lot of success. So how do you move forward? What goals do you have?
Yeah, my goals, you know, it'd be nice to win a title, but you know that'd be like an end-to-end goal. I look at, you know, I just go fight by fight. So my goal at the moment is just to get the next fight, win that one, and just like you said, we're not in a rush. We say it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And considering I'm only young, I could have a long career in this sport if I play it smart, or I can try and rush things. I might try and force fights with top 10 guys. I lose, and then I can get cut, and that's the end of my career. So, yeah, it's definitely. I know a lot of guys try and rush forward, and they might be ready for it. But I'm not saying that I'm not ready for it. But I think if I want to have a longevity in this career, just play it a bit smarter. In terms of goals, I mean, I just want to be able to. I've always wanted to live on a farm, so I want to try and buy a farm. So that's always been my motivation. So I'm getting there. But if you know, and to support my family, that's the main thing. That's probably even above winning a title, is just be able to support my family. If a title comes along with that, then that's an extra bonus.
That's great. Where would you buy a farm?
Somewhere north of where I live, just out in the bush, somewhere quiet away from the city. I'm not a big fan of the city, so I want to go out into the country somewhere.
All right, awesome. Well, Jake, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. The future is definitely super bright. Congratulations again on a fantastic win, and hopefully we'll see you in the octagon before the end of the year.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.